Okay, so we look at the setup on those two. You can just see where the shaft now. Personally, for me, that shaft's probably a little bit too far forward.
Yeah.
The fact the ball position is okay, it's not the worst thing in the world. With the ball being as far back as it was and that shaft being that far forward, I mean that's probably nearer. I mean, the ball position there is probably nearer your back foot. To be fair, that to me is if someone's playing a low knockdown punchy shot. Now if we saw that setup, I'd expect this foot to be back a little bit just to open yourself up to play that kind of low punchy shot, but you weren't trying to play that shot. Okay, so as you swing the golf club going back, there's a lot of good things in the swing. If these sort of two swings are sort of synced up now, lovely left arm movement. Okay, good shoulder turn. Okay, but just look at your knee on this one here now. It looks a bit kind of tilted this way. This one looks a little bit less kinked. Okay, your head now is still kind of behind the golf ball, where this one is kind of a bit more on the ball, really. Okay, that's not very good straight line. Okay, I can't draw straight lines. That's the new app. There you go. All right, my new picture everything. Okay, so yeah, your head's a bit too much on top of the ball. Your hips are kind of pivoting more to that left side. So when you come back to the ball now, you got to start moving back up out of the shot, and you can see just catching that basically early. Okay, whereas this on the left hand side now. Okay, if I clear that line, as you're coming through now, there's your strike point. So you're striking it a little bit. These swings are basically synced up together for impact. This one you're striking there, you see the zip of the ball now coming off here. Hands are nicely in a very good kind of straight line from left shoulder, elbow, hands and shaft. Whereas this one, now you hit it early, trying to back up, your head looks different, sort of trying to like get out your own way kind of thing, just a different kind of position there now. Whereas the left hand ones, again, you finish through nice on that left hand side with both swings, but just that right hand one trying to move out your own way, that ball's a bit too far back and you're just almost at the last second going like, oh, panic, I've got to try and make some adjustments there, and just trying to get out your own way. And if you had a few shanky ones as you did and a few cutty ones, everything was just right, wasn't it? Okay, which is interesting when you hit some shots left. Now maybe when you hit the ball on the golf course a bit hooky, the ball may have been a slightly back of where it wants to be. Okay, so rather than being kind of here, okay, it would have been sort of in between those two lines, and you've moved back sufficiently enough to change kind of the low point and then just flick hooked it. And then because you had a few hooky ones, you might have just started moving that ball back a little bit. Because the logic that people have with ball position, okay, if you're in a golf ball, I mean, the golf swing kind of curves like that, yeah? So if you're hitting the ball to the left, people go, the ball must be too far forward. I'm moving for the back now. Now I'm in it straighter. But if you've got in the right spot, or maybe just back anyway, and now you're moving it back here, you're in it early. But in your mind, having the ball for the back's going to send the ball in that direction. But if you're hooking the ball, that's ideal, isn't it? But it's not really curing the fault. It's just masking over what you are trying to avoid doing, and it might work. And this is when people say, oh yeah, I started off all right, had a couple of hooky ones, and it was a bit inconsistent after that. That's just you reacting to what Hook on the third did, and then a few of the different shots and trying to adjust to it as you go around the golf course. Sometimes it clicks, and as a good golfer, 2 or 3 wrongs can make a right, but when it goes wrong, it's like red hour display team, yeah? So yeah, if we can just be aware of that ball position, always check your fundamentals when you're on the range. Again, I would always preach as much as I can. If you're on the range in golf balls, okay, have the old kind of alignment sticks down there, 2 clubs or whatever it may be. Sometimes guys have the outside ones there for the sort of path of the golf ball. Just have things just to make sure you're setting up correct, rather than just using the edge of the mat and always aiming at the same spot, so you kind of know what straight feels like on this particular shot because you've done it thousands of times. Go to a different mat, readjust to a different alignment. In some ways, maybe aim, if I'm on the mat here now, if the target's over here somewhere rather than over here, aim over there, move your whole body to the left and actually change yourself completely, so you've got no kind of help in some ways with the mat or the bay. You're now coming at a bit of a diagonal, because on a golf course, a lot of shots you play at funny angles. You never play a shot dead straight down the fairway. Very rarely we middle of the fairway playing to the middle of the green. We're often on the left side, the right hand of the fairway, playing at a diagonal towards the flag. So if we can't get used to sort of aiming off at different angles, we're just going to struggle. We don't know what straight feels like. We know what a straight shot feels like from this bay, but when you're out of that bay, well, what does straight feel like now? I've lost my kind of comfort blanket kind of thing, or that sort of ability to line up properly. So always check basic fundamentals, set up, ball position. It's, for me, that ball position is a sort of newish thing. I've never seen you sort of creep it back that far. Yeah. So it could be something you've done in the past, and now sort of just, I say, being known to yourself, started doing that. Always worth checking that. If you're starting a few funny shots, and again, when I say funny shots, the old off to the right, hooky ones maybe to the left, slicey ones to the right, or the unmentionables, just go, right, okay, am I setting the ball correctly? Because if you're not, then that could be one of the sources of where the bad shot's coming from. Yeah. If you try and cure the bad shot with another adjustment, yeah, it might go well, but it's 2 or 3 wrongs making a
So
right.
the only thing I can think of is when, like I said a minute earlier,
Yeah.
so when I've been trying to move my hands forward,
Yeah.
I've left the ball behind.
Exactly. Yeah.
Forgotten where the ball is, as long as my hands
As
are
long
up,
as you,
I'm all right.
exactly, yeah, exactly. You've achieved one thing, but not got precise with the thing. Yeah, that makes sense. To be fair, Mark. Yeah, good. Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.